Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, fellows. How are you guys? How are you guys doing? Ngiyaphila, guys. As today, I just want to touch on a very sensitive subject. It's a subject that is very close to my heart, and I think it's a subject that must be close to every black person's heart. Actually, I would say for every human being must be concerned about this matter. But I would say for us as black people, Africans, this is the matter that should be concerning ourselves with. The black on black violence. The black on black violence, which manifests in many ways. It manifests itself in many ways. It can be through the gender based violence or black men killing each other. I think if you were to follow the stats, then you'd realize that actually black men kill each other more than any other people. If you were to follow the official stats, then you'd realize that those black people are at war with each other. So I just want us to talk about that matter. Let's dissect it. Let's give ourselves some time to analyze the problem and see what kind of solutions can we come up with. So I prepared some notes for this video. So I'll be reading through some of the notes. But I want us to discuss this matter. Please comment on the comment section. What do you think can be done to end the black on black violence? It can no longer be denied that there is black on black violence. So it has become a norm whenever one opens the television, radio, or social media platforms to be greeted by headlines and images of what has become to be termed or characterized as gender-based violence. I think we can all attest to that. That go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go to WhatsApp, or you open the radio or open the television, you are likely to be greeted by images or reports of black on black violence. And in most cases, it is us Africans involved in those cases. One can safely say that 98% of those cases involve black people. If you were to follow the statistics released annually, you'd realize that actually black men kill other black men more than any other person. What has led to this state of affairs? Because surely we're not born to be like that. It cannot be that it's in our DNA that we must be like that. It means there's some prevailing conditions that keep on producing the kind of men that our society is producing, the kind of men that are a danger to other people. Could it have to do with the broken family structure, especially when it comes to us as Africans? Some few months back, I was watching a podcast. They were interviewing Dr. Padi Lehohla, the former Statistician General. It was on those who want to watch that interview. It was David Mashabela Studios. Go to YouTube and Google David Mashabela Studios. Then you'll see there's a video there where they're interviewing the former Statistician General, Dr. Padi Lehohla. Okay? Dr. Padi Lehohla, the former Statistician General, and he mentioned that 62% of the birth certificate of children born in South Africa do not bear the father's names. Meaning 62% of children that are born in South Africa, 60% of those birth certificates do not bear the father's name. Then that tells you the scale of the problem that we're dealing with here. Right? Of absent fathers. So I'm asking, could it be one of the reasons that we produce in the society, the men that have become a danger to society? Because now we're going to have 62% of children. Let's work around that number. Born in a situation, there's a broken family structure. Because as Dr. Lehohla says, that 62% of those birth certificates do not bear the father's name, for the father's name. Where are the fathers? And again, most cases, it is us black people, Africans. Why? Why are we having this phenomenon? That should alarm all of us. The breaking down of the African family structure has meant us losing our core values and principles, especially how we relate with each other as black men and black women. Right? The breaking of that family structure, the African family structure. Because before you go to school, go to church, the first principles are instilled at home. Now, if you're having that broken family structure, what kind of children are we producing? What kind of men are we producing in society? The violence that we are seeing amongst us as black people, is it not a reflection of that problem of a broken family structure? Let's carry on, guys. We need to deploy an Afrocentric theoretical and analytical framework if we are to get to the root cause of the morass. What I'm saying that we must put the lenses, the Afrocentric lenses, for us to understand the problem. If we are to get to the root of the problem, does it have to do, or is it because we've assimilated to the Eurocentric way of thinking and doing things? I'm posing another question. Could it be one of the reasons that we've abandoned our Afrocentric way of doing things and thinking? That now we've assimilated to the Eurocentric way of doing things and thinking. Could this be one of the reasons why our society is so broken that it produces the kind of men who become a danger to society? We have to understand the impact of colonialism, or we have to understand the impact colonialism has had on us, uprooting us from our roots. No one can deny that, cannot be denied that colonialism uprooted us from our roots. Because colonialism was violence, dispossession. Actually, it was genocide. Like any tree uprooted from its roots, it cannot withstand any winds and storms. Right? Migrant labor, which came as a result of dispossession and the conquering of the Africans by the invading force, the Europeans. The loss of land and cattle forced and turned Africans into laborers, as they now had to become slaves to Europeans and sell their labor for survival. Right? Picture this. The Europeans, they came. They violently conquered Africans, dispossessed them of their land and cattle, which then compelled Africans to work for Europeans for survival. Right? Because now, for you to survive, you must work, you must sell your labor. You see how what disposition has done to us, right? When you talk about migrant labor, then with the opening of the mines, it means men had to go, leave villages, leave farms, go to the cities, go to the mines actually, where they lived in hostels. Some would come home once or twice a year. What did that do to the African family structure? Right. African men had to leave their homes and villages and become migrant laborers in the mines, and that meant the breaking of African families and the black family structure. This impacted negatively the power relations and how African men relate with African women and their children. Their departure into the mines created a vacuum, and this left many boy children without father figures and therefore diminished the significance of a father figure within an African family. Right? With the fathers leaving, going to the mines, living in hostels, that created a vacuum. So mothers now had to be mothers and be fathers again, of which you know the difficulties that comes with that. So it means now we had boy children growing up without father figures. Because we cannot downplay the importance of a father in a children's life. The father's there for a reason. Now with the system of migrant labor, it meant that created that vacuum. I believe and I'm convinced is one of the reasons why the African family structure broke down. Why now we have 62% of children being born and having birth certificates that do not bear their father's name. Because it's a continuation. It started somewhere. It's a continuation, it's a perpetuation by the system, right? So we need to get to the bottom of it. How to arrest the morass, right? It must be understood that a healthy family leads to a healthy community and a healthy nation and a healthy society. This simply means that a family structure remains a backbone for a strong, healthy society, right? Because we were always taught when you're growing up that you being on the streets are a reflection of the home that we're coming from, right? So we cannot overemphasize the importance of the family structure. With all the historical account one has attempted to provide, we are compelled to ask what can be done meanwhile to ameliorate the situation. Now, as I've tried to lay the basis and given the analytical and theoretical framework of how we found ourselves here, we understand that. But now in the meantime, what can we as men do to stop and arrest the decay? What is it we're doing as men? Right. What efforts are we as black men are making to arrest the morass? We must refuse to perpetuate the situation. We need to stand up and say this cannot continue in our name. In the meanwhile, we are struggling to reverse the legacy of colonialism. We need to call each other to order and say this has to stop, and such starts in our private settings. How we relate with other fellow black people, we need to value life itself, and it is only then we can value and respect the lives of other black people. Guys, see here. Here's the tragedy of colonialism and apartheid. Through its brutality and its indoctrination, made us as black people to believe that we are not important, right?